Today Matt and I are kind of taking it easy. There's always things outside that you could do, but instead we're just going to take a rest day. But Matt's going to make me, I guess this would be brunch. It's not really breakfast, but it's not really dinner time either. He's going to make me an egg sandwich down here on the wood stove. It feels so good. We've been sitting down here talking, and Matt said he could go to sleep down here.
Yeah.
You'd have to move back further though.
Yeah, that thing's hot.
Matt's getting pretty hot. It feels really good to me. I just turn from one side to the other. It's the old saying, you got to stand and let one side heat and then turn around and let the other side, let the other side bake for a while. But Matt's going to make me, what are you going to make me? Some sausage and eggs?
Sausage and egg sandwich, and I'm going to make some coffee.
I think I want some hot chocolate. I think you can make me some hot chocolate.
Yep, I can do that.
I brought me an orange. Matt said he didn't want one, or a tangerine. Ought to be a nice little meal though here by the wood stove. Either way, there's easier. Well, after cooking this delicious breakfast, Matt made me move away from the wood stove. It got a little toasty over there, didn't it?
Yeah, it's too hot to sit down by.
Yeah.
So we moved over here in Katie's shop.
Yeah, Katie's not working right now, so we just took over her shop. We're going to sit right here. It does really make you think about, Matt got so hot while he was cooking, really make you think about when they had to cook over. I mean, you know, in the old days, if you had to cook over there every day.
How'd you have to do that in the summertime?
Yeah, in the summer.
And they put up food with it, and my goodness, they had to be tough.
Canning green beans on it. Oh my goodness.
That about melted me down. I don't know how they stood it.
I don't either. And every meal, you had to do it.
Oh, you're good though, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. And I mean, of course, you can. In way back times, I guess they just cooked over an open fire. And then thinking about, you know, when you, I guess, advanced to having fireplaces in the house, cooking on the hearth, bending over for everything.
Yeah, and reaching back in yonder with your little, using the little pot cranes and dragging ashes and all that'd be some work. And then you get 5 feet away from a fireplace and you freeze to
You'd be
death.
freezing.
Yeah.
There's a really great YouTube channel. I can't think of the name of it now, but really nice man and woman that does it, and they reenact like from back then. So whatever she's cooking, she cooks like Matt said, moving the ashes, using a Dutch oven as an oven, and putting the coals on top. Really beautiful, well done videos. But that would be hard.
I was ready to eat. I ain't ate since yesterday.
Matt was hungry.
I've been hungry for about 3 hours. But that'll help.
And then even moving to can you imagine when you was cooking on the hearth and then you got a wood cook stove?
That'd have been a big upgrade.
Even our stove would have been a big upgrade.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Golly, that's good coffee.
But there's a real art to that too. My Granny Gazzy had a wood cook stove, and then she also had an electric stove in her kitchen, but you know, I was too young to even be interested or care about it. I thought it was fascinating when you open the eyes and you could look down in there and see the fire. And then I loved to check in her warmer, see if she had any biscuits left over from breakfast. But other than that, I never gave any thought to how difficult it would be to cook on a wood stove. You think about baking cakes, and I've read accounts of women that was like knew once they did it every day, they knew like how many sticks of wood and, you know, of course, which part of the stove you push stuff back or pull it forward.
Yeah, it's a whole lot harder to regulate the heat. It takes a little bit of experience and know-how to do that. And I got this one too hot. But we're using it to heat with, trying to heat the basement and everything, and I just got it too hot, then decided to cook on it.
Oh, it worked. Perfect.
Oh, yeah,
it was
worked.
quick.
You just got to go fast with it.
But that's a real art, one that's gone, because unless you have a wood cook stove, if you do, I think you're lucky. But it is a tremendous amount of work.
It is. The thing them people did was work.
It'd be wonderful to have those skills, though.
You can get them. Just takes practice to master is all.
Yeah, and when they did it every day, they knew.
People have just got away from that, and it's just something that's gone.
Yeah, and I personally am very thankful for my electric stove upstairs and my oven. All those things.
It's also good to have this and know that you can heat with it, and you can cook on it if you have to.
Yeah.
Power goes out or snowstorm and you're out for 2 or 3 days, which we have happened before.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just keep right on going.
And it's fun to cook on it like today. I'm glad Matt thought of it. I was like, yeah, that sounds great.
I've been in the woods all morning hunting, and I got a little cold because I'm slightly underdressed and I hadn't eaten. And I kept thinking, I'm going to cook me something on that wood stove when I get back, so I can warm up and eat at the same time.
We're glad it finally got cold enough again to have a heater. I mean, have a fire in the wood stove.
It's going to get even colder next week, most all week long. So we'll have to get some more wood in.
Yeah, probably should do that today, but now I've declared this a rest day.
Okay. I like rest days. We don't get them much. Most of our rest days are mine. Yours too. Is just a small amount of time within that day. You rest and then you're up and then the stuff we do for recreation is busy anyway.
It's work too. Yeah. Sometimes folks say, either here on the channel or on my blog, Tipper, I hope you rest sometime. Well, I do. We go to bed fairly early, and I'm a heavy sleeper. So, so I get a lot of rest that way. But like Matt said, I think of the things I enjoy to do more as like I just do them. I guess everything we do, we enjoy. Like I enjoy. It is work, but I enjoy it. So I don't think about it as work. And I think for whatever reason, we're just generally people that enjoy working. Crazy as that sounds. Now, I enjoy working for myself more than I would when I worked a public job. And there was joy in that too, but it's way more joyful if you're putting up and, food and raising a garden and all that, and harvesting meat, or, getting the wood in. All those, cleaning my house, all those kind of things that I'm doing on this work, but I'm actually doing it for my family. That's much more rewarding.
Right.
But we just, I guess, come from the type of people that just stay busy, always doing something.
Yeah, somebody commented about us that we, watch TV, and we do.
We have some.
But to sit in front of a TV all day long is just not something that's going to happen here, and not, unless we got the flu or something. A little bit here and there we do, but just our rest day where you sit down all day long and don't do anything is something we don't do. Yeah,
and we're big readers, so we like to read. I would rather read than watch TV. I'd rather read a good book than watch a movie. I don't know why. I've been an avid reader since I was in about 5th grade. I just become obsessed with it. And I mostly like not fiction books, just a good story. It don't have to necessarily be about here. I love mysteries, especially. I like mysteries, but and I do love reading about Appalachia. And I love the old Western books and books set in those days where the women are having to use those wood cook stoves. But I like all kinds of stuff. But I like to read a lot, so that's one thing I do for relaxation and enjoyment. But I love to be in the garden, planting stuff, pulling weeds, harvesting, feeling the sunshine, hearing the birds, and that's all work, but I enjoy it. Yeah. Same could be said for your hunting. It's kind of work. It's enjoyable, but it's
it's recreation, but I go at it hard enough to where you might call it work. I mean, just the way I do it. I don't, I don't hunt beside the road. I like to get back in the woods and, kind of go at it like they did in the old days too. Get far back and. I usually hunt from a tree, and I'll spend time trying to find the correct tree. And I generally get way up in it, and that requires a lot of times cutting it out and getting it ready, and it's usually steep, so that's work getting there to it, and it's work climbing it. But it's all stuff I really like to do.
Now, there's an enjoyment in, I think, any kind of work for me that you do with your hands or something like that, that you're physical, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I get enjoyment too and really feel accomplished when I, this morning I edited a video. I was so glad to have it done, and there you go. That's work, and I enjoy that. But something especially rewarding about doing physical labor.
But once again, it's a whole lot more enjoyable doing it for yourself than it is for working a job.
For the man.
Because I did that a long time, and it was not very enjoyable. But then I'd come home and we'd work here, and that was. But that's a whole lot of work.
Yeah. We always teased about Pap that he just liked to work better than anybody we'd ever seen. He would just hunt for something to do. If he didn't have any work, he'd go to somebody else's house and find their work and do it.
And that we're about to get back like him. Even though we teased him.
Yeah.
Back then. I wonder why that is.
I don't know. And sometimes his desire to work caused problems.
Oh, yeah.
He wanted to hurry up and do something, or, when we were building this house, he built it and with Matt's help, but this was the first house Matt ever built, so he had to learn a lot, but he just wanted to push, which he knew too. I was pregnant with Corey and Katie, and we were trying to get in it. There was all valid reasons, but he made us hurry on some stuff we should have waited just because he wanted to strike a lick, make a lick.
Yeah. He used to tell me all the time.
Got to make a showing. Is that what he would say?
He'd say make a showing, but he'd always say we got to do something, even if it's wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know, have you ever heard him say that?
Yeah.
He said that a whole lot of times, and I thought, that don't even make sense.
He really believed
he's right.
in forward movement if you were doing something, yeah.
I guess I picked up a bunch of his traits along the way, and that's not a bad thing. That's good.
After he passed away, one day we was sitting down at Granny's. I think it was me and Steve and Paul all down there. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe she'd already told them and then she told me, but of course after he died we all started thinking about stories and stuff, especially Granny telling us stories. She's still to today telling me stuff I never knew, about Pap and stories of what this had happened or that had happened or whatever. But I guess things that when you're, before he died, there was just no need to tell those old stories or whatever. I don't know. You can probably identify with that if you've lost somebody that you really, really love. But anyway, one day she told us that there's a story I'd never heard that all of Pap's family laughed about it, and that's why she knew about it. It was his grandma. I called her Big Grandma. I can barely remember her. She died when I was probably about 5 years old, and she was mostly in the bed. Not really bedridden because she could get up, but she had to lay down a lot, and her bed was in the living room at my mom and Papaw, so that's how she was just always there. But I don't really remember much about her other than I thought she was mean. But I brought Matt some cookies too.
Did you bite off that already?
No, but I give you one guess at who did. It looks like a Katie Presley.
Those old enough to be out of that stage by now.
Anyway, when Pap was little, he stayed a lot with what I called Big Grandma, was just his grandma with her. And Granny said they all laughed about this story that one time he was staying with her and she was making him work in her flowers, and he was just real little, probably like 5 years old or something like that. And he told her, he said, "Grandma, I just wish you'd go ahead and die." And she said, "Well, Jerry, that's terrible. Why would you say that to me?" And he said, "Because then I wouldn't have to work in your flowers no more." And me and Paul, first thing we said, "Well, that's unusual." We thought he liked to work in anything, even as a kid, because he was so about work. But Granny said, well, he probably did even then, but he just didn't think flowers were necessary. If they'd been working in the vegetable garden, he'd probably been all right. Anyway, we got a good life out of it. Of course, he was too little to know what he was saying, but kids say some funny things.
The best cup of coffee I've had in some time.
Out of your French press?
Yeah, it's just mighty good.
You bought that mostly for camping. I'm sure somebody would want to know about it. What brand is it?
It's a Stanley French press, and I just bought it to throw in my backpack, and not necessarily for camping, but just to have with me in the woods. And if I want to dip up a little creek water and make some coffee, I can. I've usually got either a little folding MSR stove or a little fold-up twig stove, and you just build up a little fire and heat some water and have some coffee real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Especially on a cold, blustery day, that's nice.
I might use another one of his little pots to make this is my hot chocolate. It's Postum cocoa blend, I think it is. It's Postum, but it tastes like hot chocolate. And that, I guess, where'd you get that little, it folds up to little pot?
I think I got it off eBay or Amazon or somewhere. It's a little MSR Seagull pot, little folding pot, and it works fantastic as well.
Mm-hmm.
You could make coffee in the French press, and you could boil water and have oatmeal or anything like that. Anything that you add water to, you can have a quick meal in the woods to
be easy.
Warm you up and give you some energy.
Ramen noodles or something like that.
It's real good to carry stuff like that when you're away from the house or a vehicle in the woods, because you don't never know what might happen.
It's true.
I've spent my whole life in the woods and I've never had any incidents, but it could happen the very next time.
But you hear every day about people who do.
Right. Just a slight amount of preparation will help you a long way.
This is true. Be prepared.
Every time I leave here going in, even though I'm not going far from home, I have with me enough stuff I can spend the night if I have to.
If you had to.
I mean, I can build a fire. I can generally make something to eat, heat water, boil water to disinfect it, and throw up a shelter if something happened and I had to do that.
Crazy. It reminds me of two different things on totally different. You couldn't get further apart than these thoughts in my head when I think about being prepared like that, like what you just said, what made me come to mind. One, Matt can probably guess, is I don't remember what that movie was. Was it Little Red Riding Hood or something? Hoodwink.
Hoodwink.
Yeah. Paul had that years ago when it first come out. He liked it and he bought the movie, so then we've all seen it. But there's a part in it where the goat sings about being prepared. Yeah. If Katie or Paul was here, they could just sing the song. Yeah. They could just start singing. I've got horns for my whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that. And then totally on the other spectrum of, I don't even know why this come to mind, but is a Johnny Paycheck song, The Cave. Except I'm more familiar with, what's his name, Matt? Josh Williams. Yeah. Josh Williams singing it is who I first heard sing it, and then I realized it was a Johnny Paycheck song. But The Cave, which is a really scary, terrible song. It's like
when I first heard that, I thought, golly.
It's scary.
It's a good song.
Yeah, it's really good. It'll give you chills and you won't forget it, but it's good for Halloween. But it's basically where some, young boy, whatever, was playing around in a cave and kept digging and digging around and got lost. And then, the earth began to shake and all these things happened to him. And then he finally, when he did crawl his way back out, it had come like, I guess, an atomic bomb.
Yeah.
And it was all about how everything had changed. It's really scary. I guess Paycheck wrote it probably during that time when people was really worried about it. And the bomb shelters and all that were...
Yes.
Anyway, scary songs. Those are two direct opposites, aren't they? For me to be thinking about a cartoon and a... Johnny Paycheck song.
What's going on in there?
I don't know.
Yeah. I need to take a stick and poke around in there and get it all lined back up.
Maybe. Now I'll probably have the Be Prepared song in my head all day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious. Well, that's mighty good.
Very good.
I might make it now. for a couple hours anyway.
Yeah. I can't believe you come unfed from yesterday's feast.
Well, I didn't eat supper, which is another oddity. But I ate pretty big at lunch, and then I just didn't eat no supper. And then I got up this morning, went hunting, didn't eat any breakfast, and I was ready to eat. Now it's a little bit after lunch. That's a whole lot longer than I'm used to going without feeding me.
Mm-hmm. Well, we didn't have a popsicle today, but egg sandwich is awful good.
It is.
Sausage.
Hot coffee.
Might have to go take a nap now.
Yeah. Naps in the middle of the day ruins me, usually.
I like.
Of course, I might want one. I didn't sleep none last night. I might ought to, but I can't. You can't lay down and sleep with that going on up there anyway. Them youngins.
Hear Corey and Katie talking.
And that dog. Yeah, ain't nobody gonna sleep.
You have to go if you're gonna take a nap. The only advice I can give you is you have to go and shut the door somewhere and lock it. If you're gonna take a nap at this house.
I've done that.
Only place Matt can do it is go up in the woods in his hammock.
I've done that before, and then 15, 20 minutes in, one of you's opening the door to ease in there because there's something in there you need, and then that wakes me up, and then I'm done.
I don't do that.
You have?
I don't think so. Matt has to go up in the woods with his hammock. It's where he takes his naps.
Well, cool for that day.
Yeah. Actually, I gotta head down at Granny's. She's called and asked me if there was any pumpkin pie and turkey left, so I'm gonna take her some of that to eat for her dinner.
I guess I'll clean up all these dishes.
Yeah, well, it's nice. Thanks. Thanks for the meal.
You're welcome. It's good to cook for the missus once in a while.
Yeah,
Keeps you in good standing.
Yeah, I love it when Matt cooks. He's a good cook. You've been cooking your whole life.
Yeah, I like to cook. Enjoy it.
When Matt was little, Miss Cindy and Papaw Tony, divorced when you were what?
It's probably 7 or 8, somewhere in there.
And Matt stayed with Papaw Tony most of the time, and he worked a lot of hours, so Matt was either learn how to cook or do without.
Mm-hmm. So I learned how to cook.
Yeah. That's another thing that's amazing, even from Matt's like being 8 years old and cooking, but you read the accounts of those, like I was saying, the old ladies had to cook on the wood stoves. Being, someone, their kids or whatever, like by the time I was 5 years old, Mama had me a little stool and I stood on it and I made the biscuits and the gravy and all that. And then you look at today's 5-year-olds and you think, how? I mean, even my 5-year-olds, even Corey and Katie, I think, how? Like Corey and Katie, I wouldn't have let them cook when they were 5 years old. It's just such a drastic difference. Anyway, Matt was one of those kids cooking when he was young. Maybe not 5, but by the time he was 8 or 9.
I was, 8 or 9. I remember one of the first things I remember cooking is pancakes. I mean, I've always liked pancakes, but I don't know, Daddy may have taught me, I don't remember. But I can remember doing it quite often, being at home alone and making myself pancakes. And then, of course, as I got a little older, I learned how to cook other stuff.
That's pretty impressive. Pancakes ain't that easy.
Oh, I love them. And I just learned how to do it because for some reason, I like to eat, and I like to eat good food.
Yeah. I don't know what the
homemade food, in other words. A lot of people would say that's not good, healthy food. But we eat, everything we eat is pretty much prepared from scratch. Everything we eat, no matter what it is. We don't open boxes and all that stuff. We make everything from scratch, and that's what I mean by good food.
Yeah.
Some of it may be fattening and all that, but so be it.
I don't know what the first thing I ever fixed was. Maybe, one of the first things I wanted to fix was a butterscotch pie. And almost all of them I ever made, pretty much in my childhood, were so runny they would just run out, but they were still good. I guess I made eggs pretty early. Probably could fry and scramble eggs. Granny, though, was really good. She just let me whatever I wanted to do. She'd tell me, go do it. As long as I cleaned up my mess, she didn't care. She'd let me. And I probably wasn't even that good about cleaning my mess up all the time, but she just let me cook whatever I wanted to. And there was a while, this was when I was much, much older, though, not long before I met Matt. I was working a job here, and I worked second shift at a plant, a local plant. And Granny was working, she worked for many years at a dress factory where she sewed, so she was still working there. And I would, before I left, I would cook supper, like before, I don't remember if I had to be work at 4 o'clock or what time it was, but I would like cook it, and that way I could eat it or take me a plate with me. So I would fry, you know, if it's in the summer, do squash or okra or whatever, and whatever kind of meat and cornbread and stuff. And that way, and then when Granny come home, they could all eat it, but I didn't get off till like midnight or whatever time it was. So I've always enjoyed cooking, though. Being a cooker, that's what Corey calls it. She'd tell me when she's little, Mom, I want to be a cooker. I said, ask her why, and she said, because it makes people happy. I was like, well, you figured that out at a very young age. You're right. Food makes people happy.
I do have a funny story about it, though.
What?
When I was in grade school, the teacher decided that she'd get the kids to all put together a recipe book, and we each had to bring our own recipe of something we knew how to cook. And, you know, a lot of the kids was just normal, what they'd eat for supper, in other words. Well, I kept putting it off because I hated homework.
Homework, yeah.
When I got home, I threw down my stuff and I was outside. And I was outside till somebody beat me back in the house.
Yeah.
And I just kept putting it off till the very last minute. The night before it was all due for them to put the book together, and I hadn't come up with a recipe. And so my recipe was popcorn. How to make popcorn. And my daddy saw that. I didn't tell him. This is how it came out. Come home with the book, and he saw that, and he got angry. He said, "Son, that's embarrassing." You know how, he said, "Why didn't you tell me? I'd have helped you, or you know how to cook other stuff other than popcorn." He said, "Anybody can make popcorn." And I had it, and this was the old popcorn. This is before the bags, and this is you put oil in a pot and put the loose popcorn in it and salt it and all that.
Yeah, and cook it.
It was still very simple, but he said that was embarrassing, and he didn't like that.
That's funny.
But
that's funny. Yeah, I can just see Papaw like, what you think?
Yeah,
People don't think we just live on popcorn.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, we hope that you enjoyed coming along with us while Mac made me a really tasty egg sandwich, sausage and egg, and had some hot chocolate, and I had an orange. Matt didn't have one, but it was really, really good, and we're always grateful when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia.
Cool. Oh, gosh.
I need a thumbnail. I wonder if we should... No, not that. I wonder if we should go back over there at the Woodstove.
No.
For it. Huh?
No.
I've got cooled off now. Have you? You're still hot? That was really good, Dad. Thanks. Very tasty.
Anything cooked on the fire is better.
I know.
Ain't it?
It just is, yeah. That little trivet worked good for toast. I should have said what that was. Can you buy trivets like that?
Yeah.
For toast, I mean.
Yeah.
But that was just out
They
of
actually make some.
Said that was just out of our roasting pan.
They actually make some that are two pieces and they're hinged and they fold together, and you can capture a piece of bread in it and do it over a fire,
Oh
like
yeah,
a
I
campfire.
think I've seen those before.
But you could do that same thing on the wood stove with that.
Yeah.
But this little rig here worked great.
Oh, that's perfect.
I think you could do the same thing just down in the bottom of the pan, but our pan had already had grease in it, and I didn't want to do that.
And
But you could do it.
You had the, which is good. The fire going so big to warm the house that it was awful hot.
You could toast it in a dry pan, because I've toasted it on the Blackstone.
Yeah. It's amazing when you think about, though, that they knew how to keep the temperature, like by one log, one piece of wood.
And each stove would be specific to
Yeah.
how many sticks of wood. I mean, you'd have to learn it.
Right.
And every stove would be different.
Amazing. We should be so grateful for the ease of our lives compared to that. Someone has arrived.
Did they make it all the way?
I think so. Maybe spun up the last part of the driveway, but it sounded like it.
That's about normal.
I know. That's what happens when you live on a goat bluff like we do.
Yep. We could pave that thing, but it just wouldn't be the same.
No. I used to think I wanted it paved, but now
We
I
almost
don't.
did pave it.
There's
You
too
remember?
much. Yeah, I know. We got Larry to come and measure it and all that. Yeah.
Not at this point. We've lived here 30 years nearly
Why pave it?
and beat up and down that
Yeah.
hill. There ain't no needing to doing it now.
I'm just against pavement. Pavement's everywhere. It's
Yeah.
a sprawl of man.
Right. If you don't tell, I'll just plant trees down it and let it grow back up and we'll walk from down yonder.
No. Don't want to do that, but I'm okay climbing up it.
And every time it snows, we have to walk up it anyway.
Yeah. And I hope that happens this year.
I can generally
Big
get
snow.
up it. It's just horrifying to go
Probably
off
what'll
of it.
happen is I'll get my wish and it'll be in March.
It'd be horrible.
And we'll be trying to get to the hospital with
Horrible.
Katie. I don't know. But I love our road now. I don't think I would pave it. Like, I
Yeah.
wish our whole road was still gravel. I wish
Oh,
they
yeah.
never paved it.
I do too. I loved it back then. Look
There's
at
no
the,
gravel nowhere. I
Look
mean,
at the
our
sh-
driveway, but
Look at the shape of roads in. They pave it, and then it's slammed full of potholes, and they won't fix it, and it's worse than gravel.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the way all these roads are.
Yeah. Well, sounds like somebody's upstairs now. You can go see who's here.
I reckon.
Yeah, we better.